Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. My name is Sherry George and today I'm going to talk about another very important topic. But this is one topic which is highly infamous. And why do I say infamous? Is because just as menstruation is a hush-hush topic, so does this is one topic which is also all the time being hushed by the society. Yes, you heard it right. The society all the time wants us to not talk about subjects like this. So the topic which I'm going to talk today is obviously live-in relationships. Now, live-in relationships has been a topic which always is apart from the society. People do not accept it. People do not accept it to an extent that they do not feel like talking about it. They do not want their family members to even hear about it, so that they think that their children might go into a wrong direction. Yes, that is what they have been thinking. Their children go into a wrong direction. But honestly, that is one subject which needs to be talked about all the time. Because if you are doing something like that, you need to know what are the laws related to it. You need to know how and when you can get into a relationship like that. How and when you can get out of it. And is it really legalized? Is it not legalized? We obviously know it is not legalized and we do not have various laws on it. But there are certain things that we still do not know. And that is, we have certain cases. So the first very case that we are going to talk about today is Khushboo versus Kanniammal, 2010. Kanniammal and Khushboo were living in a relationship, and the case talks about where two major adults consenting and living with each other for a long period of time cannot be said to be living in an illegal relationship. The Supreme Court has also stated that two consenting adults who are majors cannot be considered as they cannot be considered to be living in a relationship which is actually unlawful. And also, the very important judgment of the Supreme Court was that living relationships will come under the ambit of Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now, what is Article 21? What is Article 21? Article 21 gives you the opportunity to live with full freedom. It gives you life to right of life and liberty. Now, when this is such a big article that it will take another video to explain you. But what I'll tell you right now is every single person has the opportunity to live like they want. And here, when we talk about live-in relationships, two consenting adults without the interference of anyone else in their relationship can actually live together without being called illegal. This relationship will be formed as legal, and there are certain conditions attached to it which I'll be explaining further. Latasingh versus State of Uttar Pradesh, 2006. Now this case is very famous as well. And why? This is where Supreme Court had stated that two heterogenic sexed people can actually live together and have sexual relationships with each other without being called illegal, and they are actually not committing any offense. Usually two people stay together and actually have sexual relationships. Earlier this was considered as adultery, and soon after the adultery was struck down by Supreme Court under section 377. Then this one particular case came into limelight when two heterogenic sexual people can actually live together without being called unlawful, without being charged for any particular offense. Madanmohan Singh versus Rajnikant in 2010. This is one of the most important cases that we have ever had, because in that case Supreme Court has told us that live-in relationships, if continued for a long period of time, cannot be considered as a walk-in or walk-out relationship. So usually earlier there were times where people were living in a relationship which was completely not acceptable. It was illegal. And also the fact that people were walking out of the relationships where and whenever they wanted. It was like, if a person is not happy with the other person, you can definitely move out and choose to live separately without being questioned, without even being said that you had any sort of relationships with me in the past. And that is actually morally not something that I would accept or the society would accept. Any single particular question would not be asked to them. Now that is because this case has actually said, so to break that, to actually bring a reform to that. Supreme Court had decided that walking in walk out of relationships will not happen, because if you're staying in a relationship for more than 5 years, if you're staying in a relationship for more than 10 years, a live-in relationship, you will not be allowed to walk out so freely. You will be considered as or seen as a married couple. But obviously there are not the vows which you are taking in, but the duration of the living relationship will count as in the nature of marriage does. So we know by now that what live-in relationships are, what exactly live-in relationship cases are, and now we're going to talk about the laws related to it in very brief. We know that couples who are married actually face a lot of problems at home. When a woman is usually not always kept safely when we live with a man. She is not always in the ambit of safety when she is living with a person like that. In case that person is mentally insane, in case that person is a murderer, in case that person is not willing to live with her and causes her domestic violence, where a girl is actually leaving her family behind and coming and living with this person, she is actually getting a lot of domestic violence to deal with. So what does the Indian society really do? When anything happens to the woman, she usually goes to file a section which is under the Domestic Violence Act, that is 2F of the Domestic Violence Act, gives complete protection to women of the society who are married. And now, surprisingly, under Section 2F of Domestic Violence Act, the women who are also in the live-in relationships can take protection as well. They can go and charge the other person for domestic violence, and this is one particular law which helps the women of a country. Whether you live in a relationship, whether you are married, you get complete protection by the court. Under Section 125 of the CRPC, we know that maintenance is given to three types of people. Firstly, the parent, secondly, the wife, and thirdly, the unmarried daughter. These three people usually get the kind of maintenance which are actually supposed to be given by the male member, that is the husband or the son or the father. Now these people have to take care of the people who cannot maintain themselves. In the same way, court is about to presume that a woman who is in a living relationship will be presumed as a wife, and she can claim maintenance under this section. Now, under this section, a lot of children who are born as illegitimate children will also claim their maintenance, where the fathers are not willing to pay them and helping them out in maintaining themselves. The fathers can and will have to pay maintenance under this section, that is 125 of CRPC. Now, what about the custodial rights of the children who are born out of this particular live-in relationships? Well, they are considered as illegitimate children, but apart from that, under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act, they are supposed to get maintenance and also the property of their ill fathers. So apart from that, how normally a marriage would end up, there's children to get property as well as maintenance. Similarly, under the Hindu Marriage Act, the illegitimate children will also get the same. But apart from that, the Muslims are kept away from the right. They are not allowed to do so. And these are the specific things that you need to keep in mind when you talk about property and maintenance of these illegitimate children. So as we know, living relationships are not considered as the true kind of relationship or the worthy relationship of a society. Yet the Supreme Court has agreed to each and every norm considered or attached to it. So two consenting adults do not feel afraid of living in a relationship apart from the families or anything of that sort, because Supreme Court has actually accepted all the norms and conditions attached to it. But in case you are living in a relationship more than 10 to 20 years or more than that, or even you're living in a relationship which is of 5 years or 8 years, any living relationship which is of a long duration, you will be considered as a couple. And in case you want to get married, you will be considered as a married couple already based on the Evidence Act. If you are able to prove certain evidences that you have been living in a relationship for years and years, you will be given the opportunity to get married separately, and you will be seen as a married couple with all worthy and respect. So do not be afraid of that. And also there are protections which I have already mentioned. You will be protected from domestic violence, and also if a person who is Living with a girl who is below the age of 18 is obviously considered a criminal, and he will be considered as a person who is causing rape to a girl who is below the age of 18. So anyone who is willing to live in a relationship below the age of 18 is actually is about to consider as a criminal. He will be charged with rape, and so please do take care of the decisions you are taking in life and make the right decisions for yourself. In case you want to contact me, you can contact me here, and I'm obviously free to receive your calls whenever you feel like. Considering your doubts, I'll be there to clear it. Or you can comment below and I'll be answering your doubts. At the same time, if I missed out anything, I'll be adding it in the description box. So thank you so much, and please subscribe to this channel for more and more information on your legal rights. Thank you.